Hey everybody, just a quick reflection about our class from Wednesday, that is October 1st. This class we talked about percent yield and limiting reagent, and so I just want to go over our exit ticket questions. So if we look here, this first question here, under half of you got this one correct. The question was, alright, here's your reaction. You have 13 grams of NO2 and 30 grams of O3, and they're mixed together. And this reaction, what's going to be the limiting reagent? Alright, and so the trick here is that all of these are a 1-to-1 ratio, right? So there's not going to be sort of funny business going on with stoichiometry. So you just need to figure out how many moles of each there are, because the one with the least number of moles is going to be the one that's the limiting reagent. So if we think about this, right, so O3, if you look, see that O3 has, so I will say the vast majority of you, almost 90% of you picked a reactant, and that's right. So the limiting reagent is always going to be one of the reactants. And so if you look at O3, right, O3, the molecular weight is something like 48. Wait, let me see, 16 times 3, 48. Grams per mole. And NO2 is something like, what's that, 32 plus 14 is about 46 grams per mole. So I'm doing that right, top of my head. And so therefore, if they both have the same mass, then that means that the one that weighs more is going to be fewer moles, okay? Because what you're going to have is 13 grams divided by 48 for O3, and 13 grams divided by 46 for NO2. And so, because this number is going to be smaller slightly, it means that O3 is going to be our limiting reagent. And so, alright, so that's how that one works. Okay. I'll take them off the drawing for a second. Okay. And now if we look down here, second one, the majority of people got this one right. About 70% of you. What we see is that 2 hydrogen peroxide goes to 2 water and oxygen. It says that 68 grams reacts to form 8 grams of oxygen. What is the percent yield? So what you have to do is go through this whole calculation, figure out how many moles of hydrogen peroxide you have, and then determine how many moles of oxygen you produce. What we end up finding, this was the same reaction that we did at the beginning of the class, and what we found was that 32 grams of O2 is a theoretical yield. Okay, because the percent yield is going to be the theoretical yield. Alright, percent yield is the actual yield over the theoretical yield times 100. Alright, and so in this case, your actual yield is 32, or your theoretical yield is 32, your actual yield is 8, and so you just do 8 divided by 32 times 100, and most of you found out that that was 75%. Okay, so with that, make sure you review these for our quiz coming up tomorrow in class, and we'll be moving on into Chapter 8, so just as a heads up, we are skipping Chapter 7. We'll come back to that later. Alright, see y'all in class tomorrow.